What's up, everybody? How is everyone tonight? It's Friday. It is Friday. What is up with that? What a week it has been. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. Hopefully, I don't get too interrupted tonight. We shall see. I got a little bit of a monologue, and then assuming that we get enough interest, well, we're going to do the we'll play the game we played last week where we did the um, female name stereotypes. What's up, OG? We'll do the female name stereotypes, and then but we'll do it for the men. And we'll get some ladies up here, and we'll tell them, hey, what's up, and get some opinions on dude names and what they mean in the dating landscape. And that's going to be fun. It is going to be a chill stream, but not too chill to start off with. So number one, the other night, well, we'll get into that later. So I want everybody to, hopefully we're getting some people come in here. I know there's a lot of stuff going on tonight. We've got a lot of talented creators out there and some not so talented creators out there doing their thing, making things happen, making things go wild out there. It's going to be lit all over the internet tonight. I just hope some people come over and play in my front yard because I do have the best front yard. It's been a bit of a busy week. I owe Admiral Gibbs an apology if he watches this. I owe him an apology because I was set to debate last night on Trump bad. Obviously I take the negative on that. Trump is not bad. Trump is good. But I ended up flying yesterday, and I ended up staying up a little too long, and I had a lot going on yesterday. The plan was originally to take off around 5:30, do about an hour of maneuvering and practicing, and then land, and then take the airplane to another airport and put it in a hangar there, and then drive back. That didn't happen. We got a little bit delayed on leaving. I don't even think we took off until 6 o'clock. We landed around 7:30, maybe a little later, and then we had to drive. I had to drive to the airport. My buddy flew the airplane to the airport. We put it in the hangar, and by the time we got back, it was very, very late, and the debate was over. I'm sad I missed it. I think it's a good debate to have. Is Trump bad? Trump bad? But I liked it a lot. It should have been good. I owe Gibbs an apology, and we'll make it up on the next one. GridCon 2, Debaters Do Dallas, is coming up. I've got some stuff going on in the background I can't really talk about yet. The venue's not locked down yet. The venue was locked down. Now it's not. That happened to me last time as well. Normally it takes me about an hour to fill it, and I got a lot of choices, and I don't know where everything is, so kind of trying to figure it out. But definitely GridCon 2 is going to be legit. GridCon 2, Debaters Do Dallas. Instead of Debbie Does Dallas. It's play on words. It's good. It's been an interesting week. We had the whole bricks and minifigs scandal, controversy, shenanigans be revealed over the past week. What a drama llama story that is. It's insane what's been going on out there. And it's always interesting to me the way the legal system is working these days. It's just crazy. It's just nuts. And I mean, I actually have something on that myself in a little bit. We've probably, I don't know. There's just so much to talk about out there. There's just so much going on. It's hard to pick one thing. Like the other day I was watching, and they had Marco Rubio in front of a committee meeting, a committee hearing, and all he wanted to ask him about was Trump. And he's like, I'm not here to talk about Trump. I'm here to talk about these issues here. Not here to talk about Trump. All I want to talk about is Trump. Where is Trump? Trump hasn't been seen for 8 days. Rubio says, I just saw him yesterday. What are you talking about? So it's a very interesting, man, it's an interesting time to be alive and on the internet out there. Had a little personal drama going on with one of my former tenants. So one of my former tenants, we're not going to use any names or specifics, but this is a really good story. We'll get into a little bit more a little later. But basically, this chucklehead was always kind of a problem child tenant anyway. But, you know, once we kind of got over the initial interaction, and then it kind of smoothed out. And then, of course, you know, he gave me notice. He moved out. Everything's fine. And he gave me shock. This is the balls on this guy. This guy tells me, he said, this is how much I think it's going to take to fix all the drywall and paint and stuff, all the damage we did. And so I expect a $900 return of my deposit. I'm like, well, okay, we'll see, you know. Well, I mean, honestly, I wasn't going to say anything about it because I'm not that kind of landlord, but I'm well over his deposit. I'm several $100s above his deposit. And so he hit me up today and he's like, hey, man, where's my $900? Let's talk about my $900. So, okay. Well, I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you bring it up, you actually owe me money, or are you gonna, you know, I wasn't going to say anything about it, but, you know, it's cool. And he says, no, you did this and you didn't do that and all this other nonsense. And I'm like, I mean, it said something like I wasn't going to pay him or, you know, some shit like that. I forget what I'm not going to go, like, I'm not giving too many specifics here, but I'm like, you know, now that you bring it up, I was going to let it go. I wasn't really that interested in pursuing this, but now that you bring it up, I am going to total all of my, or tally all of my invoices, all the money I put out. And now the question is raised. And since you're telling me that you're basically going to try and take me to court if I don't pay you this $900, which I don't owe you. Basically, you're telling me that if I don't give in to your extortion, this would be bad for me, but, and you expect to be paid that. Now, the real question now is that when I show you that you owe me several $100s, are you going to pay me? I bet the guy disappears. But no, it couldn't just end there. It couldn't just end there. It's not how it works. No, sir. This dumbass actually has the balls, the biggins, to come at me with, well, this is how much, if you're paying going rate, it would cost. And I know you don't pay going rate, which I do. I don't argue price when it comes to that shit. And I know you don't pay going rate, so I know you saved more money. And I have this whole file on you where, you know, there was this wrong and I did this and all that. And I'm like, well, it's interesting that you bring that up now after you've moved out. You never once said anything about this the entire time you lived in the property. So I don't think that's going to help you when we go to court over it. What is really not going to help you is the fact that I have receipts for the labor that was performed and pictures of all the damage that was done and all the stuff that I had to do to return the property to its original state. And we'll deal with it on Monday because it's Friday. It's Friday evening. I'm not going to go roll back through my files and pull out a bunch of shit and send it to them, right? Like, that's just not how this works. But it's very funny. It's very, very funny. Now, there's a couple of things. Now, you know, you have to understand that when you're a landlord, when you have a landlord-tenant relationship with someone, depending on the state, that deposit is for damages or you know, kind of extreme wear and tear, you know, things like that. So while just cleaning the property in and of itself, you can't take that out of the deposit. But if you're having to haul off trash, if you're having to pay somebody to remove a bunch of problems, then yes, absolutely, that is no longer wear and tear. If, for example, you know, the remote that controls the ceiling fan, which is only controllable by a remote, if that's missing, we have to replace a ceiling fan because of it. Well, you bought that ceiling fan, sir. The way it is, you know? So anyway, it's going to be interesting. I can't believe the balls on people these days to tell me what I paid for services. Like, I'm having to pay to have this guy built a platform. I don't know what for, built a platform where he wasn't supposed to, right? Like, he rented this piece here, and the property's 20 acres. He rented this piece here, which is about an acre. And on the other side of it, he built a platform. Now, I think that's because they had a bunch of dirt bikes and four-wheelers and shit like that they're running around in my fields. That was a problem. I told them they could do that within reason. Maybe they were having band. Maybe they were practicing piano. Maybe they had a band. Maybe they were having bonfires every Thursday night or something. Because right across from that thing that I had to tear down this week, there's also a big-ass fire. It's not a fire pit. It's where they burned a bunch of shit, including mattresses and stuff. I mean, come on, man. I got to pay to have somebody clean that up. That's not normal. That's not normal wear and tear, you know? And my ultimate response to all of this is that if he really thought that he could get it done that cheap, he should have gotten it done that cheap. And I would have paid him the whole deposit back. But he didn't. And so he's not getting a deposit back. Matter of fact, I'm going to send him a bill for like $300, I think. I got to total it all up. I'm still totaling it up. The other interesting thing is that in the state of Tennessee, I have to send you an itemized list of the damages within 30 days after you move out. The problem is he didn't give me a forwarding address. Last communication I had with him was, hey, I'll be in touch on Monday. That was 2 months ago. Never called me back, nothing. I thought, well, he knows the damage. You know, he knows what he did, and he's not going to bother me about it. You just can't make this shit up, people. You just can't. You cannot make this shit up. But whatever. We'll try. We'll try. Chat's awfully quiet with just OG checking in over there. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's been interesting. You know, trying to get all this stuff sorted out. Every day is a new day. What's up, Rip Haven? How are you? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. He's over in the Twitch chat. Over there on the Twitch. I actually had a Twitch streamer DM me on Discord. Apparently, she's a member of Dusty's Discord, and I have no idea how or why she reached out to me. And it's very interesting conversation so far. It's just like, hey, how are you? What are you doing? You know, that kind of stuff. So, I can tell I'm not crazy because people on Twitch are libtards. That's true. It is true, and no one is here. That's true. That's true. It's fucking deserted over there because the liberals don't want me. So the other thing I've got to do, guys, so the other night I was asked about Nick Fuentes. What's up, Straight Jacket? How are you, sir? So I was asked about Nick Fuentes the other night, and I was pretty clear that I don't have a lot of interest in that person. I think Nick is a weird dude, and I don't believe in the way his politics are running. I don't really understand his mentality on a lot of things. I just think, that basically he's a weird dude. That's what I'm going to say. And I kind of gave him a little bit of shit, talked a little shit. And then last night we had the weirdest thing, or yesterday, I guess, maybe it was this morning. I actually don't know when this first aired. I've just been seeing portions of it where, for those that don't know, the other night, Andrew Wilson was going to debate this guy, Spencer, on Josiah's channel. And I was over there, I was going to watch the debate. I was just kind of chilling, just having a good night, just kind of fucking off. And Now, Andrew's debated this cat Spencer before. I don't think they get along. I think Andrew is pretty amiable to pretty much anybody, as long as you don't do certain things, and he's just got a great personality. Spencer has a personality of a weirdo. Like he acts like all the things that he thinks are masculine, and make him look masculine, but actually make him look very weird and strange. Anyway, so Spencer, to kind of recap, yeah, go share the stream, Ag. Good to see you, buddy. So Spencer, no idea what's going through this man's head, but for some reason, this cat Spencer agrees to debate Andrew, agrees to the format for the debate, the topic of the debate. Everything is everything's go down the list. He's agreed. I'm in the chat. I'm watching this. I'm like, this ought to be good. Andrew's not manosphere, but a lot of people think that he's manosphere, and that leads to some interesting interactions. Just does. And Spencer and Andrew debated already live in South Carolina. I believe it was South Carolina. And it did not go well for Spencer. Just leave it like that. Didn't go well for him. Was not a win. And so Spencer, who's again, Spencer's weird dude. I guess he just didn't let go of it. He just, for whatever reason, just didn't let go of it. And Richard Spencer, yes, that's the cat, Rip Haven. Richard Spencer. So old Dick Spencer. So Dick starts out with, after the introductions, they're talking, so they're just doing the introductions, kind of getting things going on. And Spencer comes out and tells Josiah, the moderator, I'm going to speak for between 5 and 10 minutes. And Andrew goes, no, you're not. That's not what we agreed to. 5-minute openings. That's what we agreed to. Now, for context, for people who don't know, when you do a debate, especially a debate where you got a lot of people watching and all of that, you agree to these time limits because, first of all, you don't want to be there all night, and second, it's just good form. It lets people know what to expect, and it lets people know how long they're going to be there. And for someone like Andrew, who's very busy, it's meaningful, right? Also, it just gives structure, and it's what you ought to do. Spencer agreed to not only the context of the debate, which was a manosphere, he agreed to the format of the debate, which was 5-minute each openings, a back and forth, a moderated back and forth with I think 3 to 5 minutes each per point, and then I believe a crossfire where they just basically talked over. We're going to talk over each other, just back and forth. So when Spencer says, Josiah, I'm gonna speak for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's cool. We'll just start now. No, Andrew says, no, you're not. Dick Spencer gets his dick in his hand and he says, are you the boss, Andrew? Are you the boss? Are you the big guy? Or some shit like that. I'm paraphrasing. And he gets all up in his feels. And Andrew's like, no, that's what we agreed to. If you don't like it, just fucking leave. Bonus points, Andrew. That's how it should roll. You shouldn't sit there and go, I guess we can move to 10 minutes. No. You fucking agreed to the format. You stick to the format. If you want to change the format, we can have a discussion about that, but we're just not arbitrarily changing shit because you want to be a dick. Props to Andrew, 100%. That's how it ought to be done. Andrew says, you can just leave. Just go somewhere else. How hard is this to understand? This is English. Supposedly Spencer's first name. Anyway, Dick gets his back up, as they say. And the next thing you hear is he's calling Andrew the F slur, breaking TOS, which, by the way, they had an agreement beforehand that nobody was going to break TOS. Now, I don't know how to make this any more clear. Pardon me, guys. Excuse me. I apologize. I don't know how you can make it any more clear than just don't break the TOS. How hard is it to just do what you're supposed to do? To me, this seems like a no-brainer. And maybe the point is that old Dick doesn't have a brain in his head. So he breaks TOS. Andrew kills the stream for a couple of minutes, or somebody killed the stream for a couple of minutes. Comes back. Andrew says, hey, good night. Can't be here. Guy's going to break TOS. It's not what I signed up for. It's not what we're doing. Definitely not what we're doing tonight. Totally fair. Good call, Andrew. Support you all the way on this, brother. This is how the game is supposed to be played. I should play the game that well. I don't. I would have probably just been like, yeah, let's just roll with it. I'm going to make this guy look like a bigger fucking idiot than normal. But that's just me. Andrew did it right. Said, fuck this guy. Fuck out. So after Andrew leaves, apologizes to Rip Haven is correct. People who debate Andrew have no other choice. People might not agree, but Andrew's blueprint is flawless. That's true. Spencer is an F slur. I believe that 100%. I believe that, OG. I think that you're onto something there. So anyway, Dick, otherwise known as Spencer, after Andrew leaves, he goes on like an hour and a half long, starts out with a Cope stream, ends up with the, trash Andrew stream with this guy, Josiah, basically trying to be like, hey man, it's not cool. I don't think that's accurate. Whatever. So I didn't see it, but it was bad. So then Nick Fuentes, who I don't like, I do not like Nick Fuentes. I do not agree with Nick Fuentes. I think he's a troll. I think that, I had the opportunity to have him on my show once. We declined. I declined. I got to take it back. Nick Fuentes went 100% to bat for Andrew, and he was right. Everything Nick said was right. 100% correct. No lies detected. No bullshit. It is a fact. It is a fact that Andrew is probably more of a man than Richard Tricky Dick Spencer, because he married Rachel knowing she had children by another man, knowing that he was going to be the father to fatherless children, which, by the way, biblically is the right thing to do, by the way. Hey, what's up, Rip Haven? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. It's the right thing to do, and Andrew did it. So no matter, I don't understand all of these people who keep coming for Andrew with that he's a cuck for being a stepfather. I don't understand it. You are not making him look bad. You make him look like the fucking hero that he is. You don't understand. A stepdad, a man who steps in to be the father to fatherless children, takes on a burden that most of us will not know and cannot appreciate. Most of us wouldn't do it. And if we tried to do it, we would fail. The fact that he succeeded at it speaks volumes to Andrew Wilson's character. I couldn't do it. I had the opportunity. I've said this a few times. I've talked about this. You know, I dated the very woman that I dated before I started dating my wife. Very beautiful woman, a little older than me. Nothing wrong with that. Was she older than me? No, she was not. She was a little younger than me. Yes. But she had a kid. She had an ex-husband. I really, really cared for this woman. And I spent like a week like arguing with myself back and forth about, you know, could I be no question that I cared for this woman. I would even say that I loved that woman. There was no question as to that. The question was, would I take on that burden of being a stepfather? Now, in this case, the father was still in the picture very much, and I didn't know how I could handle that either. And at the end, I decided that no, as good a human being as I am, I'm not that good. I couldn't do it. At that time in my life, I made the conscious choice that no, I could not really be a father to that little girl. Not that I didn't want to. I just didn't feel like that I was in a place in my life where I could do that. I made and it was probably the wrong choice, to be honest with you. And it's one that I, you know, there for a while, I occasionally second guess myself on. But Andrew did it, and he succeeded at it by all metrics. His kids, his kids are doing okay. Now, he doesn't talk about them much, and I don't blame him for that. I've actually never talked to him about his kids. I don't think very much. But at the end of the day, he took on something nobody else would, or I shouldn't say nobody else would. He took on something that few will. He did it for the right reasons, and he was successful at it. And for a nut punch like Tricky Dick Spencer to criticize any of that is bad. And that would be bad. And if we just stopped there, that would be bad. But he didn't stop there. He didn't. He doubled down. And he went the same place a lot of these low-tier, hack job, feminist, just garbage motherfuckers go. He called Andrew and Sarah negligent, and because their son was taken from them. I can think of nothing lower, nothing, than to talk about a father losing a son or a daughter in a critical way, let alone making the claim that they were somehow negligent, somehow unfit. This did not, my opinion, do Tricky Dick any good deeds. This is going to be played around the internet, and he's going to look like the punk ass he is. And Nick Fuentes called him out on it. The same way I would have. Same way I am right now. And now I have to kind of make the point that I don't agree with Fuentes. I think his politics are garbage. I don't believe a lot of the things that he says. I just don't care. He's probably a nice guy in person. He's probably somebody you could go out, hang out with, maybe, whatever. He's probably a good human. But his politics are crazy. His positions are borderline insane on some things. But he got it right when it comes to Andrew Wilson. He got it right. And I'll take back some of the criticism that I gave him, because, and regardless of his motivation, it very well could be that he's just doing it for the clicks. He's a clickbait debater, whatever. I get it. I understand, guys. I see what you're saying in chat. But he got it right with Andrew and this Tricky Dick Spencer guy. That's right. He's 100%. And I don't understand it, right? So it's one thing. I don't get this. It's insane to me that there are people out there that glorify people who leave their children behind, don't pay their child support, don't take their fatherly responsibilities in any way seriously. It's like a whole fucking mantra out there. Like these guys are out there running around going, I don't want to date their mom anymore. So, fuck that kid. These manosphere jackasses. But they'll whine about, the wife will take my kid and I'll never get to see my kid again. Motherfucker, strap up and pay your fucking child support. Prove you have some dignity and take care of your kids. Yeah, actually, I do mean Counterpoint's future. Honestly, yeah, Counterpoint's, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games until his wife gets custody and he has to learn the sting of child support. Yeah, he's been talking that shit for a long time too. You don't think you will what? OG, I'm not sure what you're referring to. It won't bother Counterpoints. It's probably true. That dude's delusional. I always thought that he had I honestly thought that he had some intelligence there and he was kind of gaming the system, and I just didn't see it. I didn't understand what was going on. No, I was wrong about that. I was wrong. Yeah. What's interesting to me, Mullet, and help me out with this, guys. Help me out with this, chat. The people who run around and talk about being a family man the most, about, all the nonsense that they do, how great a father they are and all of that. Do they not all kind of turn out like Counterpoints? What's interesting is when you listen to Andrew talk, he never talks about him being a great father. And I hear this because this is what I say too, right? Like I kind of pay attention to people who say the same things I do. I never talk about me being a great father. I talk about how great my kids are. My kids are awesome. Somehow they're awesome, right? My 5-year-old is smart as a whip. Like that kid is crazy, crazy smart. Super active, super curious, respectful sometimes. My oldest son is legend. Legend. I don't know that I've ever said that I'm a good dad. I am a dad. I do the best I can. But all these guys who wear being a dad on their sleeve as some sort of badge of courage or some shit, talk about what a great dad they are, what a great family man they are, how all of this, they're just, they know better than you. Where are they now? Where are those guys with counterpoints? Where are the deadbeat dads out there that aren't paying their child support, that don't, their kids don't have anything to do with them because they've been let down so many times? Where are those dads? Are they still calling themselves a great dad, that they love their kids, they care for their kids? Rip Haven says the ones that yell the loudest are always lying. Probably some truth to that. Those that are great at what they do don't need to declare it every chance they get. That's probably true as well. I think it's impressive, honestly. You know, not to glaze Andrew any more than he's ever been glazed, but you know, Andrew's genuine. Like, I've spent time with Andrew, right? Like, I've hung out with him to some degree. We've shared meals. When my mom passed, he was really the only person outside my family. Well, he was one of very few people outside my family that I spoke to about it, right? And I felt guilty for laying that on Andrew, calling him up and saying, "Hey, man, can I talk to you a minute?" Andrew's a good dude. Well, I don't understand why people like this jackass Spencer has to go after him like that. Yeah. Well, maybe you get that too, right? Just because he pays all his kids' bills, he is a father. No, your wallet, sir. Your wallet. Yes, Rip Haven. Andrew will tell you has flaws. That's true. Yeah, clout and stupidity. That's what it is. And look, I don't care. You don't have to like Andrew, right? Like, there are things that Andrew and I don't agree on. You know, there are things that I do and people I talk to that I know he does not like it, and it may even hurt him to some degree. But he has never once said anything to me about, hey, don't speak to that person. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was invited to be on a panel. I was invited to be on a panel, debate panel. It's going to be Brian Shapiro is going to be on. I actually don't have any interest in talking to Brian Shapiro because, to me, Brian Shapiro is a waste of time. He's not funny. He's not smart. And he can't have a conversation. All he can do is speak calmly for a few minutes and then explode into obscenities and garbage. But I was willing to consider it, and this person happens to be on the outs with Andrew. So I'm, hey, Andrew, thinking about going on this panel. The optics are, being what they are. Plus, I don't know. This is, I don't know if I want to interact with Shapiro. It's just not really what I want to do. And I don't know. What do you think? He's like, do it. Don't do it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter if you go over there. And I'm like, well, there's things going on. He and I both know about. What about that? It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I didn't go on the panel, mainly because, to be honest with you, I don't like to be on a panel with 80,000 people just yelling at each other. As a matter of fact, I don't understand. I can't understand why the audience, you guys out there that are watching right now, the very few of you there are, because there are a lot of options of stuff to watch tonight. The people that watch this show, I'm really always very intrigued why they watch 10 people yelling at each other on a panel. Like, I get, I walked in the other day, turned on the computer woke the computer up, went to YouTube, hit live. There was a panel going on. There were like 8 or 9 people up there, and all they were doing is yelling and talking over each other. So, well, you know what I did? I clicked out of there. I went and watched something else. That's just me, maybe. Maybe I'm just old as fuck and don't care. Sarah and Mr. Shapiro have been doing a lot of debate content. I mean, you can't call it a debate when you just yell at each other. Audie hates Rob and Andrew just as much as she does. Coincidence? Probably not. Probably not. Boredom and background noise? That's probably true. You're probably right. You're probably right. The question I have to ask myself now is, do you regret not going on the panel? Did I lose anything? No, I didn't lose a damn thing. Matter of fact, I look better. I look better the more I stay away from those dumb fucks. Yes, they both can be true. I am old. I'm old. That's no doubt that I'm old. So ladies and gentlemen, I had intended, let me message, I had intended to do to revisit the name stereotypes. What does your name mean in the dating world? And what I want to do is I want to get a couple of the ladies up here, and tonight we're going to do men's names. If we get some ladies up here to do it, if not, I'll just continue to ramble on. But I'd like to do that. I think it'd be funny, and turnabout is fair play. I have asked a couple of ladies if they would like to come up and partake in this. We'll see if they do. If not, that's fine too. Totally okay. In the meantime, we'll continue to talk. Yeah, there's an echo chamber. Well, there's always, so I find what I have found is that it's not just an echo chamber. What we have is this situation where, oh yeah, well, somebody message Kel. Somebody message Kel. Tell her to get on here. I'll send her the link now. Let me do that. Let's go ahead and do that. Sorry, guys. I hate to do that in the middle of talking. That's rude. Very rude. And if we don't have a really good show going, I am going to end early. I am really tired. I've been going nonstop all day. And I was out kind of late yesterday, so I wasn't actually going to do the show tonight. However, I did because I said I would do this. OG's got me. Sweet. Thanks, man. I have noticed, guys, it's not just an echo chamber. What we really have, oops, sorry, hit the mic. What we really have going on is it's an echo chamber with a feedback loop, especially when it comes to dating and politics and that sort of thing. And I go to the shows and I have the same, and I swear to God, it's the same show on a 4-week rotation. Not that there's anything wrong with that per se, but at the same time, it kind of is. It's kind of weird. And OG did a show yesterday. It was something about like Backroom, which I think is a video game, and some other stuff. I wasn't into it. I stayed for a few minutes. I left, but it was different, and I thought that was good. I thought that was really good. I thought it was really cool. So, I think people that, I think that OG can grow because, he's willing to do stuff. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm willing to try different things. I don't do it. I can debate. We'll do some more debates on the channel. We're going to do the event in Texas. And we'll keep doing all of the things that I've been doing, but understand that there's a sub level of this. And that sub level is that I'm a busy dude. And I don't have time for, yeah, right, Smoking Spaceman. It's a bunch of canned talking points that are pre-approved by the community, so to speak. I have a limited amount of time in my week, and that time is getting tighter and tighter. I'm looking at buying, we're still, I've been trying to buy a new business for the past 2 years. I've looked at several and I've come close to buying a couple, but I think we might be on the trail of the trophy. Might have the trophy in sight. Maybe not. We'll see. Numbers got to work. But I can't do the same show every week. I can't talk about the same things every week. I actually really want to talk about, I really do want to talk about the dating thing tonight, because I think a lot of this is highly influenced by people from very specific areas. And they're coloring the entire, they're basically coloring the entire way the community looks at things. Community being a very loose term. I'm using it in its loosest form. All right, so we'll see if we get the ladies up here. I've sent all the messages. I think so. If I ever want a good laugh, watch a debate with Brian Shapiro. Brian Shapiro cannot debate. Brian Shapiro can't debate because he doesn't understand logic. He doesn't understand reason. He doesn't actually understand anything but my feelings. This is a common thing in debate. We've got all the Phil bros right now, the philosophy bros. I think the philosophy bros have some good, like, they probably have the better arguments most of the time, right? Phil bros. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to argue something where there's factual proof, and this goes back to, how do you win a debate? You win the debate with the prompt. The way the prompt is structured determines whether or not you're going to win that debate. Most of the time. I say most. Is what it is. You got the gear for the episode you're working on. Got the wrong piece for Mike. Okay. But you got the core content stuff down and trying to move fast, working 16 hours a day. 16-hour days sucks. 16-hour days truly sucks. Anyway, so look, anybody can call themselves a debater, right? But are you actually debating, or are you just arguing and yelling over people? It's a good question. So that's one I like to ask. Did I see the debate with Pisco and Ryan Mullally and the post-debate stuff with Rob? Rob and Ryan exposed people like Pisco who will say the opposite of what they believe just for a prompt. That's true. However, it's my belief, it's my fervent belief that if you can't argue both sides of the prompt, you probably don't actually understand what you're debating. Right? And you might lose. And that's one of the things. See, Rob understands and can argue both sides. If you guys may not remember this, but a year and a half ago or so, Andrew was getting ready for a debate, I think with Destiny. I think it was Destiny. Maybe not. Maybe it was somebody else. But it was a good debate. It was going to be a good debate. And it was basically like an abortion debate or something. And Rob took Andrew's position, and Andrew had to defend against Andrew's position. And Rob wore him out. But Andrew did that so that he understood the arguments that were going to be made and where the weaknesses were. Or pardon me, Andrew took his position, and Rob countered Andrew's position, and Rob wore him out. And that's the truth. He's one of those debaters who rely on changing definitions. That's true. You hate that. Yep. So this is actually, and obviously Andrew realized that a long time ago. That's why he always wants the definitions up front. And it's weird because you'll hear people now go, I don't want to spend 20 minutes arguing definitions. Well, good. Then concede to the definitions up front, and then we move on. I was watching Rob yesterday for a few minutes, and that's actually one of the things one of the things that sorry, I got distracted. One of the things people just don't seem to get, is that you win the debate usually in a prompt. But guys like Rob, I was watching Rob yesterday, and he was talking about how Pisco will shift the definition in the debate so that you end up arguing his point. Him and Destiny both do it. And before you know it, you're like, wait, what? That was my point. Why am I now arguing against my own point? That's crazy. And they're very good at it. They're very good at it because they know they have an indefensible position. What you have to do when you are debating people like that or when you're just talking to people like that, is you have to say, no, I know what I know. Right. And Rob was on it last night. Rob and Ryan Mullally are really good together, and they're really dismantling the current way that the left argues, because the left doesn't actually have facts. That's why when they debate January 6th, Rob made the point that the only way that Pisco would debate him on Jan 6 after Andrew smoked Destiny into the dirt because Destiny couldn't wouldn't define what an insurrection was. The only way that Pisco would debate Rob on it was if Rob agreed to the definition of an insurrection, which was Pisco's definition. So it's really interesting, and you got to be aware of it. And look, it's just how it works, man. If I want a good laugh, that chick that's suing Andrew, Sarah, is reviewing his debate right now and is being nice towards Andrew. I'm sure she is. I'm positive she is. Yes, he'll sneak in an extra word or term that changes things, pretend like he didn't change anything. Yes, that's true. He is pretty slick about it. That's actually accurate. I've gotten no responses from the ladies whether or not they want to come up and do the women's version of last weekend's extremely hilarious and mucho fun. It was just great, wonderful, men or name stereotypes in dating. So very interesting stuff out there. And the reason that the debates are so interesting to me right now is how our perceptions are getting tweaked slightly. Just it's a perception thing. Pisco is saying that it doesn't matter the agreed upon definition. He said the structure matters, which is obviously horseshit. I mean, they're both kind of the same thing, but you've got to, have I ever done a Gen X versus everyone else? No, but I probably should. That'd be hilarious. You know what's interesting, and I was having this discussion with. All right, so I have one of my flight instructors is a young kid. I think he's 21 or 22. He's got 700 hours of flight time, which is a lot. In a variety of aircraft, I think he has all the ratings except ATP. This kid wants two things in life: a job flying airplanes and a girlfriend. And that's if he gets those two things in life, it's all done. Like he's all on board, 100%. He is set for life in his opinion. And apparently he's been talking to a girl, which is helpful when you want a girlfriend. But it's really interesting because, you know, I'm looking at this kid, kind of remembering myself in that time period, right? And we were talking yesterday because he's just tried so hard to get a job in flying somewhere around the area. He's currently working in a warehouse, driving a forklift, and giving a flight instruction on the side. Have all of us been there? Has everybody in the chat been there? Everybody watching this on the VOD later, have you all been there? Have we all just been like, this is not what I want to do in life, but I have to do it. I have to pay bills. I got to do it. All right. Guy wants to be flying, but he's driving a forklift, and he flies every chance he can get. Fortunately, his dad has an airplane. You know, his whole family's been in flying forever, and you know, so he can fly, but he wants to earn money flying, right? It's hard. And yesterday we're talking about it, and he's like, I'm ready to move anywhere in the country, basically do anything to get in to that job. And I got it. I understand that. It's refreshing to hear a young man say that. He's not looking for a handout. He's not, yeah, right. Rip, we are Gen X. We understand it. That's right. I understand what this young man's going through. I understand it because I lived it. I moved wherever I had to in the country. He and I are going to have that conversation next week, or maybe tomorrow, depending on if I get a chance to fly or not. I got to work on the airplane, but I understand it because I did that. And people ask, how did you get to where you are? How do you understand the things you understand? How do you have the life experience and the opinions that you have? What school did you go to? What did you do? What classes did you take? What degree did you get? I mean, none of that made me who I am. None of that's going to make you who you are. It adds. Kel is still at work. That's cool. It's that habit. Yes, right, Rip. We do what we have to do to take care of our family and our own. When you are a young man and the world is in front of you, the world currently is telling you to take it easy. Look for that. Just take whatever job. Just do whatever. If you can't get a job in this field, go learn, go be an accountant. Hey, look, can't get a job as a pilot, be an accountant. We need accountants. That sucks. That's wrong. That's bad thinking. No, you want to be a pilot. You want to be the guy. You want to be the guy flying people all over. You just enjoy flying. You enjoy teaching people. Then go be a damn pilot. Maybe you have to move to Texas. Maybe you have to move to North Carolina or Florida or wherever. Maybe you got to live in a shoebox, some crappy apartment somewhere that doesn't matter if it's crappy because you're never going to be there because you're going to be working. You're going to be pounding that pavement trying to find that next job. Folks, this is so simple to me that it bothers me that I have to say it out loud. But looking at that, talking to that young man yesterday, the energy that he has gave me hope. There's meaningful people out there that are doing what they need to do. He hasn't checked out of the world. He hasn't checked out of dating. He doesn't believe all women are going to screw him over. Now, granted, it's just one random young dude, the flight instructor. I used to have an expression. I still do, but I have an expression, and it goes, you have to sacrifice for your art. You ever heard that? You ever heard the expression that you have to sacrifice for your art? Now, most of the time, that's some hippie shit, meaning that, you've got to give up, going to real college to go to art school, or you have to give up owning a nice car because you need a minivan to carry all your shit around, or, you got to live in, you can't live somewhere that you want to live because, your art demands that you do whatever. All those things apply to every single person I've ever known. Whatever your art is. My art was racing. My art was mechanical stuff, machines, building things, designing things, all of it. That's what my art was. Still is to some degree. This kid's art is flying. Glenn Lawrence's art is doing production. He's sacrificed. He moved across country right just now. Glenn Lawrence moved out of his house in California, is turning it into an Airbnb or something, renting it out. While he's moved across country to take advantage of something that hopefully will give him what he wants. I hope so. But he is suffering for his art. He had to sell his Jeep. This young man is this young man is flying me around is making sacrifices. I really hope that he gets a job in flying. I'm at the point now where this guy is so dedicated, so driven to his art, to his craft. I'm at the point where I'm like, I'll buy a damn flight school and let you run it. Yeah, it's true. Rip Haven says, I give my daughters crap because the newer generations think everything is a need and not a want. That's something I've instilled in my son, is he understands what a want and what a need is. And I hope I've done a good job of it. I really do. Because, it's terrible otherwise. It has truly made me stronger, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. I believe that, OG. I believe that. Some people think pain is not getting Starbucks daily. No, some people think that pain is being a barista at Starbucks and making to make ends meet rather than just walking right into the job they want to. That people aren't just going to give them the job that they want, that they think they deserve. That you may have to be a barista at Starbucks. You may have to work at McDonald's. I was thinking about it earlier today because I was driving back from the airport. I had been down there working on getting the plane ready to where I can fly it out of the controlled field again. And I was thinking about it, like when I was in Tennessee, so I had come out of racing, right? I've been racing for a while, and I had just left a team that I didn't really. I'm not gonna say I didn't get along with them, but it was tough. It was really tough, and it was just not a good group of people for me to be around. Not good chemistry. The the money I had ran out, right? 'Cause I made some money, but when you're living on that, it runs out. So I got a job selling cars at a Jeep dealership, and I sucked at it. I actually could talk them into almost buying, and I think I sold 1 or 2 cars before I left there. I wasn't there very long, but just the way the dealership worked, I wasn't cutthroat enough, right? Just didn't get the commissions I should have gotten. It's all right. It's fine. Long time ago. Water under the bridge. But I was getting really tight on money. I was really I just wasn't really a good place mentally. And I was at the point where I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to have to not go racing. Right? Like maybe the thing is I can't go work. I can't get hired anymore, right? Maybe I'm just not going to get hired ever again. And or maybe, if they do hire me, they're not paying me very much. And there's like a couple of months there where I was like, what the fuck's going on? Phone's not ringing. Shit's going on. Working at the car dealership. I get a phone call. And it's this guy that I had been working with. At that point in time, it was like I was getting to the point where I had just literally. So you have to understand, this is when I was working for other people, and I was getting to the point where I hadn't worked and racing for over, I think, like 3 months, and 3 or 4 months, and I was down to like maybe I think I had like $300 in the bank, and I had to and I was just about to get that. Yeah, it was macaroni and cheese for me, and beans and rice. Yeah, that's where I was at. And I'd actually I'd given up my apartment anyway, and I didn't really have anywhere to stay. I was living more or less on my friend's couch, and I had to borrow like $500 from my friend so I could go to California to a job interview to be the team manager on a race team. And I flew out there, and I got the job, and that was it. It was, after that, I took that experience. So worked with those guys for a little while for 3 or 4 races, made some money, came back, basically kind of back on track. And I ended up a few months later. Well, I ended up working for a different race team who barely paid me, but they did pay me, and that got me an interview with the last race shop I worked for, and it was because of that I was able to make everything build from there. But I was on the verge, like everybody was telling me just to give up. Like everybody was saying, dude, you can't do this. This is not a career. What I heard over and over again is this is not a career. This is what people do for fun. This is what people do when they're young and they don't have any bills, but you've got, you're getting older. You need to buy a house. You need to do this. You need to do that. And, but I had put all the right pieces in place. I had worked with the highest level people. I'd been to the, all of the right events. I'd been with teams that had done very well. I had the experience. I had the skills. And I was serious about what I was doing. Yeah, I did. I made a career out of a rich man's hobby. The thing is that everyone kept telling me it wouldn't work because it's a rich man's hobby. But I'm like, those rich men pay well and they're always going to do it. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy writing the check, or do you want to be the guy on the check is getting written to? And I made a conscious decision. I wanted to be the guy who had the check written to me. Right. Like I enjoyed what I was doing, but I was really good at it. And I think that people forget that you need to be good at something. And if you're good at something, you can make a career out of it if there's a demand and you approach it from the right angle. Like this kid loves flying. A lot of people love to fly, but it becomes a hobby for a lot of people because, it's hard to get a job doing it. It can be. And this kid's like, he's in it to win it. And he's gone out and he's done the things he needs to do. He has the qualifications. He has the skills. I'm actually going to question him a little bit tomorrow. But I don't understand why he's not. I don't understand why he is not working for a cargo company right now. He has enough hours in grade to do that, and or flying skydivers or something like that. And at this point, I think he'll take anything. And and again, he's come to terms with it's going to suck for a while. It's going to suck. But when he's given an opportunity, he has to make the most of it. Most people don't do that in anything, whether it's their job, whether it's dating, whether it's investing, whether it's buying a fucking cup of coffee. Most people take the path of least resistance. They don't give a shit about what they're doing. They're just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. I'll make it. I'll make do. You ever heard that? How many times you hear that in a day? I'll make do. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's cool. How many times? What's up, cleaner? Flying skydivers, how else are they going to get up in the sky to dive? That's right. They gotta have a pilot fly them up there. So, but I mean, I don't understand a lot of people out there. Now, I get it. I get it that if you're trying to work somewhere where there are no fucking jobs, it's probably not going to be good for you. Back in the day, there was this comedian named Sam Kinison, like in the 80s, 90s. Sam Kinison. And he did this bit. And he's talking about, he wanted to ask everybody to please stop sending money to those starving kids in Africa. Sally Struthers and those damn kids. And he made a really great point. We have deserts in America. We just don't live in them. We do, but not like they do. What a fucking genius. What a stroke of genius. Hey, don't live where there are no jobs. Don't live where there's no food. But move. It's what humans have historically done, but now we don't want people to do that. Well, they ought to be able to survive where they are. Why? What? That's dumb. Why did you say that? That's not bright. Say that again 10 times and think about it. No, you fucking move. So I was listening to somebody the other day, and they can't find a job in the Bay Area in programming, right? Of course not. There's a million programmers in the Bay Area. They're like fucking, like every crackhead on every street's a programmer of some kind. They all work for Google or whoever. Of course you're not going to find a job there, right? Unless you're top tier and, wanted. But if you're just a random dude, probably better off going to like fucking Kansas and, sitting outside sitting outside Cisco or somebody, right? I don't know. I'm picking on programmers. Go where the jobs are. Do the things that get people paid. And if you don't want, and let's just take the same take on dating. If you don't want weird, plastic, goofy ass women, don't go where there are weird, plastic, goofy ass women. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that most women are that way. I would say you're wrong. Yeah, I think Jeep is failing because of that, actually. I'll talk about that in a minute. But my son and I were talking about dating the other day, and, talking about, he's, this girl's pursuing him to some degree. He's not running away from it. And, pretty good. So we're talking about it, and I'm like, well, a lot of people, you got to be careful. Women are women. Got to be careful. But I told him, I said, the thing is that, you are doing a lot of things right. Where are you meeting women? Well, he's meeting them at the Clay Sports, at the Clay Sports regional, the tournament. Where else? Well, he met her through a bunch of friends. The world is bigger than your TV screen. Yes, it is indeed. It is indeed. But yeah, so why are you trying to meet, why meet women online when you can go out in the real world and meet them? It seems crazy to do that, to meet women online. So he's seen the Kel video. He has seen the Kel video. But this other young man, my instructor, he was talking about, he was making a comment last night that apparently there's a smoking hot instructor for the local flight school. And somehow she turned up on his Instagram, and he's like, wow, I know right where that is. And I'm like, well, you should go say hi. And shockingly, we were kind of in that area. And he's like, female pilots never like male pilots or something like that. And I'm like, you never know till you try. Go over there, get some digits or something. Jeep is like Subaru. They're selling an ideology, identity, not cars. Yeah. So a lot of car companies are having a hard time right now because the prices of the cars went way, way up, and they have not come really back down. But people aren't willing to pay that much. And to be honest, there's a ton of used cars out there. The problem with new car prices is there's so many used cars out there that why pay? Like, I seriously considered buying a new vehicle a month or so ago, and I'm like, man, I can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it. All right, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to drop the link, and I don't know how long I'm going to stay on, but I'm going to drop the link and come up and chat for a little while. Actually, Jaguar, I own a Jaguar. I own an F-Pace. Jaguar is actually doing not too terribly, but that's because they have cars that people actually want to buy. It's weird. I really like my F-Pace. I like it better than the Mercedes that we considered. The Mercedes looks weird. Anyway, all right, look, I'm going to throw out the link here. Subaru is, for the most part, a good vehicle. All right, let me go ahead and pin that. I don't normally do this. I'm going to do it tonight just for a few minutes. I'm probably not going to stay on much longer. I got crap to do. Busy dude these days. What's up, Rip Haven? Me and my brother were drinking one night, and I asked what happens to all the new cars they don't sell. They're recycled for next year. They just sit there and they sell them off for as little as they can. That's why we used to only buy cars, and if we were going to buy a new car, we bought a new car in September because the new models came out in like July or August. Yeah. We used to do a lot of work with Subaru with the WRXs and the STIs. I still have an STI banner somewhere, I think. Well, maybe I might have left it in one of the shops. I had an STI banner. But Subaru now, when you see a WRX now, it just means that dude vapes. That's all it means. So come up if you want to come up. If you don't, that's fine. I don't think I'm going to stay on very much longer. I was going to talk about this. Oh yeah, let me talk about this Lego nonsense. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know why I've seen so much of it. It's probably just a bunch of people who I normally talk to. What is up, Tyler?
What the fuck?
The man, the myth, the legend. You don't have a camera up, sir.
Penis?
I can hear you. I can hear you. He's having audio issues, ladies and gentlemen.
Why can't I fucking hear this shit?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
Mister, what is up?
I had the tab muted. What's up, everybody? I'm here. I can hear you now.
You had me muted?
No, I had the tab muted. Like my browser tab in fucking Brave.
Okay. I do too. I had an Evo. I had an Evo 8. I loved my Evo. I did a lot of work with Evos. So, what's up, Mr. Mister? How are you? AI is just getting worse.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to come up real quick and draw attention to something because, all these court decisions that are coming up this month, they're very important to the future of the next 6 months in regards to how things are going to go. So, for people out there that maybe they're looking for something to do in terms of content, I would advise people to look at it because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now.
Have you seen the? Have you seen how? Go ahead. I was going to say.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt.
I think there's a lag. I think there's a little bit of a lag. Have you seen where the they've been losing their minds over the fact that they might actually have to do voter ID and their states aren't going to be able to undercut it in time?
Yeah, well, obviously we're trying to do I've been trying to work a panel for the last 3 weeks, trying to get a group together for the birthright citizenship thing because that's coming up at the end of this month, and the Supreme Court has to have all their decisions in for the entire year by the end of this month, meaning they can't, going forward, it's not going to be the same. So the two major ones that everyone's flipping out about right now is the birthright citizenship one, and the other one is Watson versus the RNC. And Watson versus RNC is about what was I going to say? Same day voting. So that went up weeks ago, and now all of a sudden we're seeing a perfect example of that because California is taking like weeks to count, which, you know, some people could say like, hey, I get when you're living in a state of that many people, it takes a while to count, which is, you know, obviously horseshit. But
Right.
if the governor or mayor race, right, for Pratt,
LA. Yeah.
why is that one taking weeks? Like there's no reason for that to take as long as it is to count.
Because they do not
You know?
want that dude to win. And it's the same thing with
Yeah.
the governor's primary. What's that guy's name? Hinton, something like that. He came out of left
Hilton,
field. Yeah, the British guy. He came out of right field. Nobody saw him coming, and now they like all. Have you seen how the press was trying to manipulate voter turnout by saying that he got beat by 26% to 34% or something, like he wasn't even in the ballpark, and that was in like one county in LA. It wasn't over the state, right? And it was just crazy the amount of bad, well, not bad, depending on how you look at it, but the erratic and very engineered press during all of that. And they're doing all of these counts because they do not want to declare Hilton the winner, and they absolutely do not want to declare Pratt the winner.
Right. I keep telling people, I said, look, take the models, right, for this cycle. And you know, we've been looking at this for a long time, getting ready for this. Throw that out. Okay. Forget Cal sheet. Whatever models you're trying to implement and make a determination off of, you have to account for the fraud. Right. And people, and every time it happens, people like they roll their eyes and they're like, well, can't imagine this would happen. No. We know it's happening. So you have to assume that it's going to happen. I still think we're going to win by 5 to 8 seats, given the current models and the redistricting, which, you know, you could account for. We called that one like a year ago. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's why I've been saying this whole time that, you know, I've been listening to people this whole time about how we were going to lose, Trump fucked us, you know, blah blah blah. All of you've heard the doomsayers, right? And I'm like, no, that's dumb. It's borderline retarded. You can't say that when literally you have the redistricting was coming up, right? And California's redistricting got ruled as unconstitutional. So I think Virginia's did as well. That had a major impact. And then you just, with all of the weight of Trump, and as much as people think that people don't want to, people just don't want to admit that his numbers are right, and he's going. I mean, it just is. It's crazy right now. Arthur Daya is in the house. Good to see you, Arthur Daya. Arthur Daya says they had 24,000 mail-in ballots dropped off. 0% went to Pratt, which is mathematically impossible. That's true. I don't think it's enough, though. Pratt's still going to win. Plus, he's going to challenge all of those, which he should. Yeah.
They're being sued by Judicial Watch because they have tracked the numbers. 800,000 ineligible voters on their voter rolls in multiple counties. What was I going to say? The number of eligible voters
versus the number of votes.
Yes, the numbers don't add up.
Yeah, it's impossible, right? And this is what we said in 2016 as well. It's like, hey, this is not possible.
Well, okay, so I can see it as possible because a lot of Republicans.
What well did you drop down?
But I have an echo in my room, but I can see it as possible because a lot of Republicans in those states have seen past history of corruption with this particular mechanism of voting. So a lot of them would just opt out of doing it and vote in person instead. Generally, they already voted in person like 8 to 1.
You don't understand. It's not that just the mail-in ballots are that. It's that the number of ballots collected and tallied, period, are more than the number of registered voters.
Yeah, Tyler, this is about them not cleaning their voter rolls. That's what it's about. Whether or not they're cheating is another separate scenario. But what we can prove is that, like, if someone passes away or they move to another state, they're not taking those people off the rolls. Right? It's crazy.
Sure, yeah. But I don't think we've seen a case where a single time in California where the votes exceeded the voter tallies? Because I haven't heard of that shit. I've been looking into their autism fraud that's like hitting certain news outlets. If you know, but I haven't seen anything about that at all. I know they've always been the most gerrymandered state, but at the end of the day, like, that's states' rights, boy. Let them do.
Yeah, well, it's because, like, if you look it up, you can get the sources for it. Judicial Watch sued Oregon, and they had to remove 600,000 ineligible voters off their voter rolls. So, currently, the thing is with California, they just didn't get to them in time, but their time's coming, and that's why I said, all we got to do is squeak by the cycle, which I think we're going to do, and then all this like side stuff can be fixed. But you have people out there, and they're like, they want it all right now, meaning they want everything fixed right now. They want all the immigrants deported all at once, or they get pissed, and it's like, that's not how it works. Even after
those people, that's Rob Noir, what you're talking right now. And Rob will flat out tell you, like, yeah, I want him to do more domestic shit and less foreign shit, obviously. And I think if he focused on it more, he'd get a lot more done. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to vote fucking Democrat. I'm pissed at Trump, but I'm still going to vote for more Republicans because the more Republicans we have in the House and Senate, the more we can impose our will. So a lot of those people, especially Rob and from what I've seen, the Crucible people are saying, like, yeah, you can be disappointed at X, Y, and Z action, but the totality of this dude's policies line up with what you want. Remember how bad it was 2 years ago, which is a very strong political narrative. You just have to, and the Democrats haven't got the ball rolling yet. As soon as they start talking and everyone realizes, oh, these are the same fucking people that want to trans 7-year-olds, their popularity is like, it's already really low. It's sitting in the low 30s right now, but it's going to shoot down even more because everyone's going to remember how shitty they were. So I'm not that worried personally about that. But Cook Political Report has the Senate still going to Republicans, which if you look at the map, dude, they got to keep both of their fucking Senate seats in Georgia. That was an anomaly that happened the last time. They're not running shitty candidates this time. Easily could Republicans just flip those 2 seats alone, and then the whole idea of them taking the Senate back is out the fucking window. So it's a silly pipe dream.
Really quick, I just want to give you two like things that they're not reporting on, and then I got to drop down because I'm at work or whatever. But we're working on stuff together, and we're all going to link up. So there's more coming for everyone in the chat. We're working on this stuff. But one of them is in Georgia, and I kept saying no one's talking about it, okay? So they have this guy running for Senate, right? We got rid of multiple Rhino Senate candidates. There's a guy named Dooley, okay? And he's a closet Rhino that no one sees coming. But he's going into a runoff with this guy Collins in Georgia, and basically what happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago in Fulton County, there was a manhunt on election day, and they had to shut down all like multiple polling locations. And the mainstream media is like, this doesn't seem very important. And I'm like, it obviously is, right? And of course, that guy who is the Rhino that they haven't labeled a Rhino yet, but he definitely is. he all of a sudden is winning in those districts. All right, so Brian Kemp is the governor of Georgia, and what he did, right, and we can reference this through lawsuits that they filed. Remember Big Fannie Willis, the lady who during the 2024 election, Trump was like,
well acquainted
right,
with all
right.
these people, yeah.
So Kemp is a rhino, and he said to Fannie Willis, just go with the program, okay? They wanted Biden linked up with Willis, okay? She went to the White House, we all know this, and they created a lawsuit to go after Trump on simple, obviously subjective rhetoric, like find us these votes that the numbers don't add up. He didn't mean go out and get us votes out of thin air that were never there. That's not what he meant. But that is what he was sued over in Georgia. So this guy Kemp, okay, he endorses this guy Dooley, and he's just a regular football player. And, some people will be like, yeah, maybe it's a, we think it's a good look. And it's like, well, you could tell, right, if you've been watching this stuff closely, when a candidate is decent or not, where they ran like Herschel Walker, remember that? They run the guy in New York who's not really a Republican, and that's how Mamdani got in. So these like shoe-in Republican candidates that they're putting in, they're obvious plants, because people are like, I'm not electing this guy. They got one running in Oregon who's an NBA player, and I'm like, these are the worst Republican candidates. It's obvious what they're doing. The point is, with all that, I just wanted some people to get that information, is that, so now there's a primary runoff because the top two go to a runoff, right, for Senate?
Yeah.
And the House is no problem. We can fix that in 2-year periods. It's not a problem. But this is why they spent like $200 million on that Texas race, and it was so big because these people, we're stuck with them for 6 years. But
so there's a few things, because like I think Kemp is the model for Georgia. When we saw Herschel Walker, who was flat out endorsed by Trump's boy, and a very big star in Georgia for his football accolades. He ran, he lost. He's the reason Democrats got to take power in that very same election. Kemp absolutely crushed Stacey Abrams. So I
get what you're saying, but another thing that happened was someone got promoted. I'll have to go back and look, but after there's like an intermediary person that was in the DA's office, I believe it was. That person got promoted to a higher judge's position for going along with Kemp's thing. And we saw examples of this, like it's like the multiple factions of the rhinos, right? Like in Arizona, how Katie Hobbs, I think, remember what happened that? And we had the video of someone calling, what's her name? The Republican female candidate that they were supposed to have. Well, anyway, they had video of someone from the Republican side calling this governor candidate and saying they're threatening to unalive people, and I'm just like, wow, this is unbelievable. The point is multiple truths can happen at the same time. So you might be right that he's doing good things for the Republican Party, but what I would argue that what we need is people who vote on our side once they get into the federal portion of it.
Right.
So if this guy Dooley, right, and Collins is a great candidate. He won the majority of the votes. Everyone knows who he is.
But I'm saying the Georgia voter.
Yeah.
The Georgia voter is the one that wants the rhinos, not the Georgia politicians. The Georgia voters selected the rhino and rejected the Trump candidate in a couple elections, and that's why Democrats have the Senate seats.
I get what you're saying, but that's not entirely true, because a lot of people they haven't learned yet completely. In other words, it's not mainstream what Kemp did. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do believe this guy Dooley. And granted, look, I just want to be clear. I'm fine if Dooley gets in, but the last thing we need, okay, especially after the Save America Act like debacle that we're still trying to get through, is if we're on such a tight margin in the Senate to have legislation go through, we we can't afford another rhino to vote with Murkowski because we need that 50 or 51st seat in order to get through, right? We have Vance for the tiebreaker, but you know,
I mean, I agree, but here's where my head's at. And I think where a lot of voters are like this, right? Is what we've seen is Massey voted in erratic ways, and he often backed the left on key issues, and he's gone. And I'm hoping, and I can never remember the name of that the Republican down in Texas, Cindy, Cornyn. Thank you, Cornyn. Yeah, I knew it was a C or an S thing.
Yeah.
You know, those guys didn't play ball and they're gone now. And what I'm hoping is that sends a message to don't put your hat in the ring unless you are willing to play ball and get shit done. And I hope that holds true. You know, of course, I'm a term limits guy. I think that I think it's insane we don't have term limits. But I really, what I'm seeing is that when Trump puts himself behind a candidate, that candidate more than likely is going to win. It's very few of his candidates have actually lost. And I think that it bears paying close attention to that. And one of the things that Trump's made very clear is that if you're not on the team, you're out, you're gone. Like you're fired. In other words. And I think it's very interesting to see those things. Right. And I hope the message is being sent. Right. I hope that the reality is set in. Maybe not. I don't know. And I was never that concerned about this midterm election going left as everybody else was for a couple of different reasons. First, I honestly think the American people are tired of the left. They're tired of it. You're not going to just because you're gay is not going to get you the vote anymore. Just because you want to that you talk about spending more money is probably going to not get you elected, right? And so I think that it's I think this is the first election we've had in a long time where we have a chance of really putting in people who are going to be effective. And I hope that that's Trump's legacy. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of people who are not up for reelection that are not going to be up for reelection or whatever, but we got to think that it's got to go that way, right? Yeah, major fatigue for sure. Clovertax says, yeah, we got voters have fatigue in all of this, right? Like we're sick of this ineffective bullshit. And I think that everyone's sick of California and New York. Like everyone is sick of it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But anyway, Mr. Man, I really appreciate you coming up and talking about all this stuff, man. It's interesting to hear different takes on it, right? And I know you put a lot of time into your your analysis. So I don't know who the problem is that the problem is right now is the way modernity seems to be working politically. The person that I label a rhino today is likely to vote straight party line tomorrow. And so I think it's more difficult than ever to determine who to vote for. And I'm wondering now, what do we even use as a metric? Because if you looked at Massey, for example, I like the way Massey voted like 85% of the time. There were only a few things and they were all recent. Like it's like he had well, not all recent, but most of them were recent. And it seems like that he just kind of, just, I don't know whether he just got some TDS or what. I don't know what's going on. And you're right, mullet baby. GOP voters are sick of McConnell. And we're sick of these politicians who get into office and just stay there. I am, for sure.
Well, here's the thing, Grid. Okay, and we all should take advantage of this, link up, and work together.
Sure, absolutely.
It's getting harder and harder for them to hide their bad voting records, their deeds, and if we don't take advantage of this, right? Because they had like the FISA bill that they were voting on this week, right? And so everyone should be pointing in the direction saying, well, why did you vote this way? And that way they can't hide their nefarious methods anymore. Or, like a good example of this is when the Senate was like, we're not going to vote on the voter integrity bill. Well, it's like, why? And they're like, they can't give a good answer. And then they're like having a dog show, literally a dog show right outside of the Senate building. I'm like, okay, now we know who's causing problems. And my advice to the libs is you guys should be doing the same thing. Like, you guys have what they call super delegates, and they just looked at it when they were like, oh, we're gonna, we don't want Kamala, we want what's his name, Bernie Sanders. Not that I give a crap, but the point is, these super delegates, right? It's like they looked at that and went, screw your primary. We don't care what you want. And they were like, we want Hillary as the president. And look what happened.
Well, I mean, sure, it's very hard to hide anything. So a lot of them are just kind of coming out and just saying, yeah, why do we care? But man, I don't know. So to me, and look, I could be the only one, right? This could just be me. I think the American people as a whole, as a majority, just want people to work for them and get things done, and they're just sick of seeing things not get done. And you can't put it any simpler than that. And when we're looking at things like, when the news is coming out about, I don't know, did you watch the Senate subcommittee with the guy from the EPA? I can't think of his name, the leader of the EPA, where he's talking to that just ridiculous looking senator. I want to say she's from like,
I know you're talking about the purple haired lunatic.
Yeah, the short, straight purple hair looks like. Yeah, and she looks like she's just like, I don't even know where she's from, but and so she's saying, this is crazy. So she's like, well, you can't decrease this carbon limit thing arbitrarily, and he's like, yeah, absolutely, I can. Why can't I? It's not even like, this is not real. This doesn't exist, and she's like, no, you can't do that. That's wrong. And he's like, well, do you understand what went to the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court's decided and told us we can and cannot do? Do you understand this? Gave her the case number and everything. And she was just not having any of it. And this is our leadership that we have. And people are being able to see it in real time. I think the best thing that ever happened is the fact that they live stream these hearings and they record them, and you can go watch them.
Yeah.
And it's so insane to watch these people who are making the decisions that have never read the court case, never read the law. They don't know the law. It's all feelings. It doesn't matter. And it's, well, it's you're killing our forest or whatever that stupid chick said. And the guy's like,
well,
no,
it's all. Well, some of them genuinely believe that. Others think it's a scam. Here's the thing, though, right? We can logically figure out where we're heading by. This is why I keep saying the court the court thing is the most important thing right now because, based on which way the court decides is going to govern where we head in the near future. So if they decide, like, for example, if they don't make a good decision federally on the election integrity laws, then what's going to happen when Republicans are like, well, we tried, they said F you, now we're going to cheat. And what are you going to do about it? And really quick,
I think that states like Tennessee that have voter ID laws are going to sue the other states that do not in federal court, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and then that's how it's going to get through. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, 15 states are being sued currently because they haven't turned over their voter rolls, and they're saying it's about information security, and I'm just like, the Civil Rights Act says that it's the mechanism for the federal government to look at states' voter rolls. There are, because by 18 USC 611, illegals can't vote. What is the mechanism for the federal government to make sure that isn't happening? And if someone says it's a state legislator, no, there has to be a mechanism for the federal government to make sure that stuff happens. That's why I say the court stuff matters, because much like the immigration stuff that's coming up, like the thing that we've been working on, okay, if they don't make a judgment in terms of a federal favorable outcome, then it's going to force the states to do it themselves, and then you're going to get hyper polarization, and at that point they cannot look at a place like Texas and say, well, why are you have National Guard at your state border? Well, it's like, you're just letting them in. What are we going to do?
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of where we're going already. I mean, we're already seeing some of that. So I want to shift gears here. Have you guys seen this bricks and minifigs thing? Have you heard
what is it?
Bricks and so there's a bricks and minifig store in Oregon that took in on consignment about $200,000 worth of Lego Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I heard about it. Yep.
You heard about this?
Yep.
And it is. I've been watching it. For some reason it showed up in my feed. I've been watching it all week. It's insane. It's insane. It's and so especially the guy the corporate originally was like, this kid has got it, man. Like, he's got work. He's got people from corporate saying, we need to put this kid in jail. Like, it's crazy, because this YouTuber just got involved as kind of a way to make content. Like, they were literally asking for, hey, put out a call to action. Hey, what subjects do you think would be really great content? And this guy calls in or sends them a message saying, hey, I was trying to liquidate my dad's Lego sets that he's been collecting forever. They're worth about 200 grand. And this store changed ownership under very suspicious circumstances. And now they're not giving me the money, and they're not giving me the sets back. And they just stole my stuff. And so this kid just tries to get in it, and he's originally just doing it for like content, but it's become like a massive deal. Like, I've seen it on Asmongold's covered it. Pinguinzo, however you say his name, he's covered it. He's been covering it a long time. The civil rights lawyer just covered it. Like, it's all everywhere I turn, it's this bricks and minifigs thing. And it's crazy. Now corporate's released a statement that's very, very shaky. It's pretty hilarious, honestly. You guys been paying any attention to it? Seen anything?
Yeah, I've seen the video. The guy he tried to serve him court papers, right. And the guy was, well, I don't want the court papers. It's like, yeah,
those are fake.
Take them, idiot.
Those are fake. He kept saying those are fake. Those aren't real.
Right.
Like, it was crazy, man. Like, it's like, if you were scripting some of this, it would be, you wouldn't believe it. You just would not believe it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night. I am tired, and I just I got things to do. I'm going to go to sleep shortly. I'm going to raid you over to Rob's, and I have this really cool new closing screen. So enjoy it, gentlemen. Thank you for coming up. I keep looking at that weird AI debate enjoyer there.
Put a shirt on, you gloid.
Yeah, I think he used. I think all he did was like turn Marte's body white, something like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It kind of feels gay. I don't know. It feels gay. Anyway, you guys enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back tomorrow night, maybe, and we'll have some good times in. In the meantime, we'll get out of here. See you guys.
Did you know if you put your top lip and your bottom lip and you press them together, you will experience how to shut